Welcome to Get Your Bell Rung, a pro wrestling podcast. I am your host, KG. Tonight, talking about Wednesday Night Dynamite. With me is co-host of Rasslin Memories, a man who knows one or two things about professional wrestling history. Of course, I'm talking about no other than the Grizzled vet. Also joining us, Florida Championship Wrestling veteran, WCW veteran, the author of Looking Up at the Books, the man that, from what I hear, all the women wanted and all men wanted to be just like him. Of course, I'm talking about no other than Robbie Idol. Gentlemen,
what's up, guys? What's up?
Nothing, man. Just trying to stay warm and avoid exploding trees.
Me too.
Right?
It's cold.
And then you got the vet saying it's cold over there.
It's cold. I live in Texas. We die.
And I'm not even gonna say nothing about our weather, so you know.
What is it? 90 today?
Well, it's in the 80s. I told KG our air conditioner came on tonight.
Yeah, like I said before we went on air, there's a good possibility that we may be neighbors, Robbie.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
I am done with this bullshit. Look, you know what? Minnesota is such a beautiful state. We have trails and parks that's always ranked to the top 5. I love hiking in Minnesota. It's literally one of the most beautiful states I've ever lived in. I lived in a lot of different places, but this weather's just not worth it no more. And you know, it sucks because I love my house. I love where I'm located. Look, there's not one thing that I need that I can't walk to a store and get. Not to mention, I am less than 5 minutes from the river, which goes into the trails that I hike. I love my location, love my house, but again, can't deal with the weather no more. I am done, over it. I miss the ocean. I really do. So, good possibility. We're strongly looking at Florida right now. Texas, you know, I live in Conroe, Texas. I lived in Cut Shoot, Texas. I live in Houston. I like Texas. Good place. Just don't want to go back there.
We'd rather hang out with Idol than me.
You know, the thing about Texas to me, right, is just it's too much of a concrete jungle. If you understand what I'm saying. You know, I want to be somewhere where, you know, I can go hiking and stuff like that. In Florida, they still offer those things. Texas, yeah, you can find it, but man, you're surrounded by a lot of the concrete there. So.
Well, yeah, I live in a business district, so, you know, I got Lexus dealership and, you know, car places all over around here. So,
yeah. Mr. Herb says, come to St. Louis. You know what, Mr. Herb? To live next to someone like you, right? By the way, Mr. Herb's going to be in the podcast in the next few weeks. Such a great guy. He really is. But Herb, I hate to tell you, man, St. Louis still gets cold. The whole reason I'm leaving Minnesota is to get away from the cold. I am done with that. Guys, we have a lot to talk about tonight. We really do. And before we get into the recap, WWE's Unreal Season 2 came back on Netflix. And we talked a little bit about it, Robbie, on our last podcast. But boy, there's been a lot of stuff now that I've seen in the online world, the social media world of wrestling fans just getting their panties all up in a bunch. One of those things was actually pushed by, your boy, come on, bro.
Vince Russo.
Talking about, so I think it might have been episode 4 or 5, where Io Sky came through the curtain into the back, and she was excited because of her match. Her match went well, and she jumped on Triple H, wrapped her legs around Triple H, put her arms around his neck, and hugged him. And Vince Russo says that was highly unprofessional just shitting all over it. But what I find funny is Vince Russo failed to mention that Io Sky also did this to a woman backstage. I can't remember if it was actually, I think it might have been Stephanie. Maybe I'm wrong. It might have been Rhea. Might have been, Rhea Ripley. I can't remember exactly who it was, but she did the same thing. That's Io Sky. Why do you have to have so many clowns possibly making something out of nothing? We now have people all but hurt because Michael P.S. Hayes said about Chelsea Green that Chelsea Green, she's not going to be in the Charlotte Flair category, the Tiffany Stratton. And we talked about a little bit about this, Robbie.
Right.
She's not going to be in the top that up there with those ladies because she doesn't fit there basically. And this isn't exactly what he said, but around about what he said, that what she was great at was making other people look great and building talent, right? Oh, well, people, goddamn, you should have said that. So now people are wanting Michael P.S. Hayes gone. They want Triple H gone. They want Vince McMahon back because God knows they weren't bitching about Vince McMahon when he was here. Man, Grizzled, is this the world we live in professional wrestling with these fucked hard fans, man?
Yes. Unequivocally, yes. And I have not seen Unreal yet this season 2. I've seen the first episode. I'm going to continue watching some more of that this weekend while it's so cold, so that gives me something to keep me warm.
Right.
But no, it's shows like Unreal are letting fans see a little bit too much.
Right.
And they, of course, have to spout their opinions. And I've seen the clip of Io when she's just excited. I don't, Triple H wasn't like freaking out about it. It's like, okay, hey, all right. She was excited. Right. She had a great match at WrestleMania,
Yeah. Now people are also
not like she was like tongue kissing him or something.
Right. People also crying that Triple H should have been fired whenever Bruce Pritchard actually suggested that Pat McAfee beat Gunther, and the fact that he didn't fire Bruce Pritchard means that he should be fired. And then there's the Road Dogg. Of course, he was on the side of Chelsea Green, but he doesn't even know the people that she's going to be facing. I mean, goddamn, these people, and maybe I'm just a little extra salty because Facebook, I can post on Facebook right now, but I can't comment. They fucked with my account. They even sent me a message saying that, oops, we made a mistake. We removed this off of your account, so your account's back to being normal. But it's not. So I've not been able to respond to these people. So maybe I'm just extra salty. I don't know, Robbie. But Jesus Christ, man. Like, what are we dealing with fans these days? I mean, again, fuck. I understand that in many ways the fans are better today than they were back in the day because they're not trying to throw fucking gallons of piss or acid batteries on professional wrestlers now. But at the same time, it's hard to fucking stay in touch with these people because it's like we live in a world of just idiots.
Yeah. The problem is the internet, your social media and everything, they got too much access though. I mean, I'm surprised that they're doing that, like showing you backstage and stuff like that. That just kind of, it goes against everything I was taught. All right. The kayfabe and everything like that. So, I mean, granted, the business has been exposed, but it's just crazy that you would do that. So now instead of saying, wow, we get to see what it is back, like backstage and stuff, nobody's ever happy. You're just not happy.
And here's something else, and Grizzled, this is to you. How much do we hold professional wrestling accountable for this? Because in a way, because they pull back the curtain so much, then they kind of create these type of fans.
I think WWE is responsible for pulling back a lot of the curtain because they want subscribers, they want people to watch, And a show like Unreal is going to do that. It's going to attract the attention. The curtain got pulled back a long time ago, though. And I don't think I don't think you can go back from it. I think people know too much. I mean, honestly, the two of us, you and me, we might know a little bit more than what we should from back in the day, and that's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But in the day and age we're at now, it's like there's instant access by watching your Netflix show. You can go online, you can find spoiler sheets, you can find out everything you want to know. There is no mystery to it anymore. So I don't think we can go back. So I think we just kind of have to work with it, evolve with it, and see where we can go.
Right. I think the number one thing fans should really remember is this. Professional wrestling is a business. And like any business, there's going to be decisions you like and you don't like. But if you all want to be able to see behind the curtain, then there's things that you're just going to have to watch and calm the fuck down. It's a business. It is a business dealing with people. So there's going to be times that fans aren't going to like the decisions that the powers that be are making. And not to mention, even though this is looking behind the curtain at the same time, guess what? It's still a fucking show. So you can guarantee that there's still a lot of performative shit happening for the cameras. One thing that I laughed at, and we're going to end on that because I don't want to ruin it for you, Grizzled, but there was a lot of things that were happening then that was supposed to keep secret. And you heard Triple H going to different people who said, hey, we're only telling you because of blah, 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 but only a select few people know. And I'm thinking, really? Because you have a whole ass camera crew behind you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I mean, fans, I just think fans need to calm down. But I do believe that, in a way, professional wrestling, WWE, I agree, Grizzled, that, yeah, they kind of created these type of rabid fans. Robbie?
Yeah, it's a hype thing. It's a hype thing, and it goes into anything. Reality TV is the same way. It's a hype thing now. I mean, for example, I'll tell you this. There's a show. I'm loving it right now. I don't know if you guys have seen the commercials of the thing. Have you heard of this show called Suddenly Amish?
I have. I've not watched it yet.
I have watched it. It's interesting. But here's the problem with it, though. We're talking about pulling back the curtain, right?
Right.
Amish community wouldn't allow video cameras into their tank. So you're pulling back the curtain and you're blatantly doing it because it's supposed to, and that's kind of, there's not supposed to be cameras. They wouldn't welcome cameras into their, but it's a reality TV series and that's kind of the same thing with wrestling. You shouldn't have cameras backstage, but they're basically opening the doors and going, come on in, because we want people to see what we do.
Right.
And it's the same thing, like, for example, like I said with that Amish show. Come on in, see what we do, blah, blah, blah. Even though it goes against what thing. And wrestling's the same way. They're bringing the cameras in, shows what we do, even though maybe a guy like Robbie might go, all right, you need to back the camera off. I don't like it. But it's what people want nowadays. It's sensationalism. Right. It's the good thing. It goes with any type of television anymore. It's not just wrestling. It's everywhere. Yeah. Everybody wants to know everything nowadays.
Right. What's funny is last night, matter of fact, and we'll get to AEW next.
Yay.
I went way back. We have Paramount, and Paramount had season 1 and season 2 of what I believe really started the whole craze with reality TV, Real World. And I was watching season 1 of Real World, and I'm like, man, has reality TV changed? Back then, it was considered, man, this was crazy. This is wild, right? And now you watch, like, God, it's so bad compared to nowadays. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But anyway, let's get to AEW Dynamite, guys. Last night, we started off very much like a WWE episode with, instead of action, AEW Wednesday Dynamite normally starts off with action. Instead, we had MJF opened up Dynamite alongside Tony Schiavone. And I thought about you, Robbie, because right away MJF said, Tony Schiavone, you fat, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, Robbie's loving this. He was boasting about his AEW World title reign and proclaiming that 2026 as the year of the devil. And then Brody King interrupted, demanding a title opportunity with MJF, shut him down, saying, who have you beat? Bunch of jobbers? You need to beat somebody before you step up to me. You know what? I'm glad to see that Brody is being brought into the title picture. The negative is that he's being brought into it too soon. You know, MJF's not dropping it anytime soon, so we're not going to see him win the title. But hey, he's getting put, in the scene in that upper card level. It was okay. Start with Grizzled, man. What you think about this?
Well, at least when they start off with a promo, they start off with someone who can actually do a promo and keep your attention. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Excuse me. No, I thought it was okay. I mean, yeah, I was like you. I'm like, Robbie, we all know his love for Tony Schiavone. He's the card-carrying member of the fan club. But Brody King, I want to see him get a title shot. No, he hasn't beaten him. But MJF wasn't saying anything that's not true. But it comes back to what I said last week. He gets on that mic, and MJF, I want that title shot. He's got no...
Right.
He got a little growl at the end, but it's just he sounds so I want that title shot and I'm gonna get that title shot. And it's like, and he comes out wearing the jacket and everything. It doesn't look, he needs to come the way it look he does, he needs to be dressed like Robbie right now. Come out in like a black tank top, black sleeveless shirt, show off those tattoos and shit. Not come out in like your, Carhartt jacket and jeans or whatever. It doesn't, his attire and his voice don't fit the Brody King when you see him in the ring.
Yeah.
The two don't match.
You know what the first thing that went through my mind when I see him come out and this was going to be kind of a promo back and forth was, I'm like, holy shit, I hope this does not I hope this doesn't turn out to be like the MJF Willa Yuta deal, where Willa Yuta just looked terrible because he's not great in the mic, and here you are going against someone like MJF. I agree with you that Brody King's not that great on the mic, but and I think this is out MJF. MJF didn't make him look stupid either. MJF could have cut a promo on him that would have completely made Brody King look terrible, right? But he didn't. He I feel like MJF kind of toned down his promo that they would normally cut so that we wouldn't have another MJF Willa Yuta incident. Robbie, do you agree with that?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, he actually kind of acted like he was kind of scared of him and stuff like that. So he kind of gave him his props, putting him over. I noticed that. Okay, maybe because of his size or whatever, So, but yeah, he gave him his props.
Now, let me ask you this, Robbie, because, again, you're the guy, Grizzled Vet is the card holder who's just so goddamn intelligent when it comes to professional wrestling. I'm the pretty guy, wink, wink. You are our guy that, you've been in the ring, you're a veteran, you're established. Whenever you have two guys who are going to be cutting promos to one another, and one guy is known to be damn good, like MJF, do professional wrestlers, do they know, okay, this guy's going to be cutting a promo against me. He's not that great. I know how good I am, so I need to redo how I do cut a promo to kind of, to match him so he doesn't look like a buffoon out there. I mean, is that self-awareness with professional wrestlers?
From my era, guys just cut them. They just, they did it. And usually you didn't have like that one-on-one like they do nowadays. Everybody got their moment, So like you're on the mic, then whatever, and then I come out and I'm on the mic. So and if the guy kind of struggled, the other guy was good. He just did his thing,
Right.
Or you didn't have a lot of the one-on-ones like you're getting nowadays. So it was just basically, you had it, but not that much. Mostly when you did have it, everybody would, held their own and stuff, Think about it, like, because you had Rhodes and Flair, so both of them could hold their own.
Right. And before we go to the next segment, let's do a little bit of housekeeping, guys. On May 8th and 9th, FanFest 4. Guys, this is going to be in St. Louis or in Illinois. Do not miss this. FanFests are great. It's put on by Herb Simmons, who owns SICW. He has so many great people coming. We have JBL, Mickey James. We have the American Giant going to be there, amongst many other legends that's going to be announced more and more. This is such a great thing to go to, because it's not so, a lot of times you'll go to these fan fest or a lot of things they hold where you pay to get in, then you have to pay to see the legend, then you pay. It's not like that. You pay, you get to walk around the tables, you get to talk to these guys. And a lot of times you meet up with these guys after the fact in the bars and restaurants and the hotels, and it's literally chilled. You're talking, you're hanging out, you're making friends. It is truly a great atmosphere. It's going to be at the Rasslin, May 8th or 9th. Go to SICW.org. Again, it's SICW.org for all the details. And as well, that's where you get your tickets. This is going to sell out very fast, guys. I'm going to be there. Not that that's a draw by any means, but I will be there. Come say hello to me. Let me know that you subscribe to the podcast, you watch us, that you support us. I appreciate that. Plus, I love meeting new people, making new friends. Also, please subscribe to the podcast. After we do the recap of AEW Dynamite, we're going to be talking about a lot of moving parts right now that's happening in professional wrestling, not just AEW, but WWE, TNA, a lot of things happening in pro wrestling. Grizzled Vet is going to take over the podcast after we do this recap. Something you don't want to miss, man. If you guys haven't heard this guy on Rasslin Memories, check him out in this podcast, because I'm telling you, this guy he is so knowledgeable. It's truly an honor to have him and Robbie both as my co-host. Back to the recap. Backstage once again. So we start off Dynamite with a segment in the ring. Still no action. We go backstage. Hangman Adam Page, Mike Bailey, and Kevin Knight. They're talking about winning the Trios Championship. Also, they talk about that Speedball Mike Bailey is going to be fighting Samoa Joe right after this, matter of fact. Then they talk about Kevin Knight, who's going to be going against Swerve Strickland. Guys, what do you guys think about this?
Yeah, just a kind of a standard promo. I mean, nothing too major.
But here's the question. Did this promo, we just had this 15-minute thing, opening segment, right? Then we go directly to this, another 5-10 minutes.
Oh, it didn't build an audience. It didn't increase the rating. It didn't draw in viewers. And honestly, if I was just a casual fan or just flipping through channels and I stopped and all I saw was blah, 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 blah,
I would change it.
And then you go to a backstage segment, and a casual fan who knows somewhat, they're not going to know who a Speedball Mike Bailey is or a Kevin Knight. May not even know who Hangman is. The casual fan is going to go, oh, flip. If you're going to start out with a promo and you're going to start out and do another segment after that, I would think you want like your guys that are going to attract somebody's attention, so they might go, oh, what's going on? Oh, I want to see that. Instead of going, oh, what's going? Who's Mike Bailey versus Samoa? Okay, whatever. Click,
Right. Yeah, I mean, to me, this was, I would have went just directly to the match of, Mike Bailey versus Joe. Because that, if I was a casual fan through the channels and I seen, oh shit, I like Samoa Joe. This guy, Mike Bailey, he's pretty damn good. Let's see what's going to happen. That could have stopped me from changing. But I agree with you. Robbie, what about you, man? Could we have went without this?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, you should have just went right to the match, I mean, it didn't, like you guys are talking about, the casual fan would have flipped it,
Right. Yeah. The match, Samoa Joe versus Speedball Mike Bailey. You know what? It was a good match. I mean, I like Samoa Joe. I've at first I didn't like Speedball Mike Bailey. I've become a fan of his just because he's undeniable, really good in the ring. Samoa Joe, he took the victory. To start with you, Robbie, what did you think about this match? And you know what? Did they make the right call with having Samoa Joe win this match? Or, Mike Bailey's part of the trio championship, and he already, he just lost right away. Should the right call have been Speedball Mike Bailey, the winner?
Well, plus it made no sense.
Right.
Here's the match was great. Again, I wasn't a Speedball fan either, but the more I watched the kid, the only thing, like I said, my issue was with him. His outfit and stuff kind of makes him cartoonish.
Right.
But when you watch him work, the kid can work. So I have become a big fan of him. I like him. I like his work and everything. You had outside interference from the ops. Okay, where was Williams? Where was Page? How come they didn't come out there to make it save? I mean, when you saw that, you're like, okay, where's your teammates there? Why are they not coming out to, save you?
Right. And, let me interrupt you real quick. And sometimes they give away things and they treat fans like we're not as smart as what we are. During that interview, Mike Bailey looked at Kevin Knight and told Kevin Knight, you concentrate and worry about your match later on, right? And he said something to Hangman, I'm not sure what. Right then and there, I knew that there was going to be some fuckery in the match. And I knew at that point that, okay, well, at least Kevin Knight's not running out. So, but again, it didn't make sense. I agree with you. This is your partner. Even though you have a match later on, why wouldn't you run out to protect your guy? Go ahead, Robbie.
Right. I mean, especially with the issue that Page has had with Hook.
Right.
So you would have, hooked both of them with the interference and stuff. So, okay, maybe not Williams, but where was Page? Why didn't he come out there? It made no sense. I mean, truthfully, I would have rather seen Speedball go over because now you're throwing another kid into the picture besides Samoa Joe. Now you got this kid you can say, well, now he just beat Joe. Now he's in line for an opportunity.
Right.
And I mean, at one point you thought he was going over.
Yeah.
You really did.
Yep. By the way, guys, Taz was back. And I'll be honest with you, I'd much rather hear Taz than Bryan Danielson.
Yes.
Daniels, whatever the fuck he calls himself these days. And it's unmistakably that there's no doubt whatsoever that Taz is the heel color commentary guy. Beforehand, he was kind of, you really didn't know because he was kind of playing both sides. But last night, man, he was fucking 100% heel. Grizzled going to the match, man, same thing. Do you think they made the right call with Mike Bailey winning? And did they make the right call by having Kevin Knight come out to help his boy, or Adam Page for that matter?
They could have had Page come out because, I mean, he wasn't doing anything else tonight. We know Kevin Knight was going up against Swerve Strickland, so we'll give him a pass. He's back there getting ready for his match or whatever. Hangman could have come out. The fact they just won the trios title just for Speedball to lose to Samoa Joe the next night, that doesn't really put a lot of faith or a lot of kind of any backing behind your trios champions. And speaking of that trios title, and you're talking about how you predicted this is going, that was a dead giveaway with all the, and we'll talk about that later on in the segment or in the show.
Right.
The, Powerhouse Hobbs with all the stories going around to him, you knew that it was going to Hangman and Jet Ski.
Let me correct you, Grizzled. It's not Powerhouse Hobb. It's Royce. His name will be Royce, apparently. In WWE.
I have heard there was a name change possibly, but I haven't heard what it was.
Royce. Now
Royce
think
Hobbs?
about Powerhouse Hobb. His new name's going to be Royce.
Just Royce.
I know how I see. I didn't read about a last name. It's the first name, Royce. Powerhouse Hobbs. Why the fuck would you change the name? I mean, okay, if I don't think AEW trademarked that name, number one.
Probably not.
Secondly, Royce. Does the name Royce really fit Powerhouse Hobbs and his stature and the way he looks? Come on, man. WWE needs to do better, and we'll get to that. Go ahead, Grizzle.
Yeah, but overall match was good. I didn't mind it. Could have done without the outside interference. One thing I didn't understand though, and these things stick out like a sore thumb to me when I have to watch this, is Speedball's on the top rope. He's gonna do whatever his move is. Hook's there to interfere. He can't do his move, so he does a shooting star press off the top onto his feet.
Right.
Why wouldn't you have just jumped down? Because it looks stupid. He did this major, he did a shooting star press flip to land on his feet. Right. It just kind of why would you do that? You're risking injury if you land wrong. It's a weird way to get down off the top rope just to go, I would have done something like maybe, at hook or something to get him off the top rope, not just go woo and flip off the rope.
Right. It would make more sense for him to do something at hook to take Hook out.
Yeah, something. But instead, he did a shooting star press excuse me, off the top rope to land on his feet. I was like, I didn't reverse it back going, did I? Okay. All right. Whichever. Yeah. And then they go back to the top rope. And this time, there's the interference. Samoa Joe gets in there, does his thing, and Muscle Buster, and you get the win. So I don't know. Maybe he wasn't supposed to go to the top yet. I don't know. It was so weird.
And I agree. This was a damn good match. I'm not shitting on the match itself.
Oh no,
very good match. But I'm gonna tell you something that didn't make sense to me, and it's going to the next segment. Was this? Well, let me start off with this. Robbie, start with you. Then same question, Grizzle. Can you have, or should you have matches without a storyline? Just put a match together just for the night, no storyline. Now, I'm not talking about a match to make your guy look stronger, so you're going, beating a local talent, anything like that. Putting stars, your top main rosters for a match, no storyline. Does that work, Robbie?
You can make it work. You can, but most of the time it probably doesn't. But it can work if you do it correctly.
Yeah, Grizzle.
I think you can. I agree with Robbie. I think you can do it, and but it needs to be a good. Don't put away some throwaway thing that just looks like shit. Make it a decent match that gets some attention, whatever. And I think you can do it. I don't think everything has to be storyline.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you go to say a house show, there's a lot of matches on there. Those aren't storyline; they're just matchups.
Right.
Kind of this way, TV ways. It's a way to see something different. It doesn't have to be a storyline. Maybe it can build to a storyline, but I think it can be done.
No, I asked this question because of the next match in the segment, and maybe this is on me. Maybe I fucking missed something, right? But I'm talking about the 6-man street fight, the Death Riders versus Don Callis family. This match made no sense in so many ways.
But they did set that up.
Number one, though, when did they set this up, right? And number two, what the fuck's going on with the Death Riders? You have John Moxley, that's babyface. The rest of the guys are the heels. Now, the only way this worked was because the fans just hate Don Callis, right? So it kind of worked in the fact of the fans were behind the Death Riders, but normally the fans wouldn't be behind the Death Riders. And again, you have a leader that's a babyface. The other guys are heels. And when did they set this up? Because apparently I missed it because I'm scratching my head saying, why? What's going on here, Robbie?
There was a couple segments ago. I don't remember which show, and they did something with the Callis family and the Death Riders.
Now, was it on the Saturday Night Collision that they did this?
I believe it was the Collision, yeah.
I think
it's kind of been set up collision-wise, yeah.
It might have been a Saturday Night Collision, but yeah, it was either last Saturday or the Saturday before that they set this up. So maybe it was last Saturday.
So fair enough. But this is the thing. This is my problem. The one thing that WW mostly does is SmackDown has SmackDown storylines, Raw has Raw storylines. Every now and then it crosses over, obviously, right? But if you miss a SmackDown and then you watch Raw, you're not going to be confused because of a storyline that happened on SmackDown now that's going to be on Raw. AEW is doing this. And it gets a little confusing. I personally don't like it. I guess I could be a better fan and watch both Dynamite and Collision. I just don't have time for Collision. A lot of Saturdays. So they set this up on Collision, right? Now the question, though, Grizzled, start with you, though. Man, look, how do you feel about having a leader of a faction, Jon Moxley, who is obviously now a babyface, with a group of guys that are heels? Because it's almost like they forgot they turned Jon Moxley to a babyface. And that babyface turn wasn't just a one-off because he's very much now acting like a babyface.
I don't know. I've been following it, like I said, following Collision, and you're talking Raw and SmackDown. Raw and SmackDown are treated as separate brands.
Right.
They have their own champion. They have their own, each one has their own world champion. Dynamite and Collision are two different shows, but it's the same brand as AEW, so it goes back and forth. So you're going to need to watch both shows to kind of keep up with things because they promote things on Dynamite that you're going to see on Collision. They promote things on Collision you're going to see on Dynamite. It's a ratings thing. So
right, it is a ratings, but I personally think it's a mistake to do. I really do because
I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I think it's kind of the old WCW. You didn't have WCW Nitro, the brand. You didn't have WCW Thunder, the brand.
And look what happened.
You had crossover and people. Well, that was just a different. But I'm just saying. And WWE, Raw and SmackDown used to be just two different shows, and they went back and forth. Right. So just because WWE's doing it doesn't mean that AEW has to do it. And if you don't follow something on Collision, that's your fault.
But you're talking about casual fans, right? Casual fans, they're not. A lot of them won't watch both shows, and therefore, a casual fan might get lost if they're watching the Dynamite because of something happened on Collision, or vice versa. I think that it should be kept because originally it was created to be separate because it was originally created for CM Punk.
Well, yeah, that was the Punk show because he wouldn't work with the Bucks or whatever. Yeah,
yep.
That was the original, but they still had people going back and forth.
Right.
Either way, as far as this match goes,
it was a good match. I was just a little lost about what the fuck's happening here. But going back to the question though about Jon Moxley, I mean, don't you think they should either pull the plug and have the Death Riders jump on Moxley or have them all turn babyface?
See, I saw something in the match that I thought was kind of an interesting because it was Moxley, Garcia, and Yuta that came out with Marina. But you don't see Claudio. He doesn't come out with them. He shows up at the end and helps out. And then everybody's kind of like, oh, look, he's all with them. And Moxley goes off to do the thing with Callis.
Right.
So in a way, they're already, and Moxley already said, I'm coming after your boy.
Mm-hmm.
So he's setting up something with Don Callis' family as a heel and Moxley being the baby. And Claudio is like doing something, bringing. It was kind of a subtle, but that's how I read it. Was that Claudio kind of assembled the troops after the match, and then Moxley went off on his own agenda after Callis saying, "I'm coming after your boy," to set up whatever they got going there. So I think they're still doing the Moxley face thing, and this was just kind of another way to do it. They still got the Death Riders together, but there's going to be this dissension between: do they follow Claudio? Do they follow Moxley? And then Moxley, I think, is going to get more involved with the Callis family. And Claudio's going to be like, yo, dude, we're not here to, and that's what's going to separate. I think this is the feud that's going to separate it, is Moxley's going to get obsessed on the Callis family,
right?
And then Claudio's going to like reassemble his troops and say, "No, we're not getting involved in this." Moxley will be on his own. That's kind of how I took it, just kind of the way they used the people in that one.
Right. Good enough, Robbie. I mean, are you on the same page with Grizzled, or do you think this is just more of a clusterfuck? That's how they're doing this.
No, I'm on the page with Grizzled there. Because so I'm waiting for my check, Grizz.
All right, yeah, PayPal or Cash App.
But no, because and not to be a dick, KT, on this one.
No, you good.
I know. No, since we don't like really do like the recap of Collision or anything, you can actually kind of watch, fast forward through it, and say, okay, cool. I don't want to see this. I'll fast forward this. So I'll do that like on a Sunday morning. So you could. I saw what was happening. So that was the only reason why that I knew that was happening. It doesn't bother me because it's kind of like old school, because we had Florida Championship Wrestling on Saturday night and then Sunday afternoon. So I mean, it was just one continuous thing. So you have it Wednesday night, you have it Saturday night. So to me, it's just all continuous because like you said, the brand they're all together. There's no separate brand. It's different shows.
Yeah, so, but you know what? You have your hardcore fans, you have your casual fans, and then you have the fans like myself, your lazy fans. Okay?
That's why they make fast forward.
Right.
That's how I watch Collision. I don't want to see this because I know I don't have to talk about it on here.
Right. Right.
I do that with NXT, and then when I can't take some of the commentators, it goes on mute. So
next backstage promo, Triangle of Madness. Tekla and Julia Hart gave a joint promo. Tekla challenged Chris Statlander for the AEW's Women's World Championship next week, while Julia Hart challenged Willow Nightingale for a TBS title match on Collision. Guys, this whole thing with Willow and her partner, I always forget her name.
Harley Cameron.
This
is why you have me around.
I want them to break. I want them to drop these titles so badly so they can break up and go back to doing their individual thing. That's how I personally like them. This whole thing of Babes of Destruction or Madness or Wrath, whatever the fuck they're called.
Triangle of Madness, Babes of Wrath.
Yes, it's not working though, is my point. If it was working, I probably remember a little bit better. It's not working. Robbie.
I don't mind it. I mean, the Babes of Wrath thing's a little carried away. I'm hoping the Tekla Chris Statlander match is way better than Tekla's promo, so I'm hoping that. I wasn't thrilled with her promo, but I'm not a big fan of her, so I don't know. I guess I never seen her on the indie scene, so I don't see the big deal in her.
Right.
I hope the match is better. I hope it's way better than her promo.
Right. Grizzle, in the beginning, we were talking about WWE's Unreal. We mentioned about Chelsea Green not being on that same level of being a top card main eventer.
Okay.
With Tekla, do you think she's kind of in that same realm of Chelsea Green that she's not going to get any higher than maybe the mid card, upper mid card at best? Or do you foresee her being a world champion?
I don't. I see her more as maybe a Willow Nightingale opponent than a Statlander opponent. I'm with Robbie. Tekla doesn't. I mean, it's okay. And that promo was horrible, but it wasn't the worst promo of the night, in my opinion. That's coming up. Unfortunately, it does involve girls. But I want to see the Julia Hart. Well, I think because their first match was really good. So I do want to see that again. Tackling Chris Statlander, I want to see because I like Chris Statlander. Do I want to see it because of Tekkla's promo? No, that promo didn't sell me on anything. So
no. The bad part was, and I like her, Harley, but she kind of was lost in that promo.
We'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Yep.
Good Lord.
Before we get to that, we go to arguably for myself one of the matches of the night. FTR versus Jordan Oliver and Alec Price. And the reason for myself why this was one of the matches of the night was these two young men surprised the shit out of me. They are so damn good. I've never been really exposed to them. I was impressed, which we'll be talking more about them when we get into things that's happening in the world of professional wrestling right now. There was a couple of times that I was like, holy shit, are they going to actually have FTR lose to these two? Maybe set up for a future title match? That didn't happen, but nonetheless, I like this match. Start with you, Grizzle. Were you as high on this as I am with these two young men?
I'm with you. I mean, these are the guys that MJF announced had been signed, right? Yeah. So I didn't know much about them. I'd seen a little bit on it, but no, I was really impressed with this match. Some of their double team work when they were together, really good. They're crisp. I like that. They didn't do anything really sloppy. Didn't do anything really, over the top. What they did looked really good, and I enjoyed it. And they're working with FTR though. And that's the thing. FTR is going to, when they want to, they can make you look like gold. Right. And they made great dance partners for these guys on this debut. Were they going to win? No, because obviously FTR are the champs. But I don't think they needed the win to make their point. Because, no, they were really, really good. And I'm kind of curious to see where they go with it. And I'm hoping it's not just having them do flip-flop matches with like the Bucks or Top Flight or Jet Speed or whatever else. I want to see these guys actually legitimate. They were decent. I liked it.
Right. Robbie, do you think I'm going too far over that line by comparing these two to a very, very young, early team called the God damn, it was in my head. Fucking A, I just shit over that, didn't I? The Hardy Boys. A very, very young Hardy Boys.
I see a little bit of resemblance. I see a little bit. I guess I'm like you. I have no idea who they are. So I don't know. But they were good. I mean, the match was good. So, I mean, it wasn't my favorite match of the night, but it was a good match. So, I mean, it was one of the better matches that they had on the card.
Right.
So the kid, like Vet said, that they were crisp. They didn't do anything sloppy. They looked good in everything they did. So, I mean, it was a good signing, for them.
Right. Yeah. Grizzle, I'm going to you with what I asked Robbie, man. Do you think I'm getting too carried away when I'm saying they reminded me last night of the key word here is very young version of the Hardys back in the day before they were really, crisp and technical.
Yeah, I suppose you could kind of see that. I don't see why not, because when the Hardys first came in, they did a lot of the double team maneuvers. And when we're saying double team, people, we're not talking about illegal double teams.
Right.
We're talking about moves that they're doing together. But yeah, I could see that a Hardy Boys thing. I could see that as a good comparison once you figured out who you're talking about. But no, I could see that. Yeah.
Now, I don't know which one of you guys said this, but you said you hope they don't get signed and just do a bunch of flippy matches. And one team
that was me.
That was you, Grizzle. One team that you mentioned was Jet Speed. I'm going to disagree with you with the Jet Speed thing. I think Jordan Oliver and Alec Price against Jet Speed would be a phenomenal match, just because both of these teams, Jet Speed and Jordan, do they have a tag team name yet?
No, it was just.
All right, so both of these shows, Jordan Oliver and Alec Price and Jet Speed, yeah, they both do the flip-flopping, but they're also, I noticed, pretty sound technical wrestlers, as in they do more than that. Okay. So having them going against the Young Bucks, no, I don't want to see that. But against Jet Speed, where it's more that, yeah, they do a flip-flopping, but it's a little bit more than that, I think that would be a damn good match.
It could be. It could be a very good match, and I don't see why not. I can agree with that. What I mean, though, when I say flip-floppy, is I mean I don't want to see them get into a match with like Jet Speed that turns into a choreographed dance routine. You know, okay, flip over, flip back, go 2 steps in, go 2 steps out, flip to the left, flip to the right, flip, 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 stand up and go. I don't want to see that. And that's what happens with young teams like this that can do this stuff. A competitive match with them and Jet Speed, I think, could be great because, yeah, with some technical in there. I don't want to see the Alvin Ailey dance routine shit.
And I can agree with that because having them face off against FTR last night allowed them to show a lot of the little flippy shit that they do, but they were also forced to have to do some mat wrestling because FTR is not a flippy floppy team, right?
No.
So I could go with that. Next, we go with the worst segment of the night as far as promos. Sorry if you guys disagree with me. I will stand 10 toes down with that. Full chest out. The Cosmic Babes of Wrath. This is absolutely the drizzling shit.
This was hot. I don't mean to be critical, but this was hot garbage, man. It was trash. And it was trash for one reason, and I hate to say this. Statlander answered Techless challenge. Fine. Willow announced her challenge match on Collision. Fine. Then someone in their great mind said, okay, Harley, your turn. You start speaking. As soon as she, and I don't know what I'm doing. Well, that's not what she said. It might as well have been. I'm clueless. She had nothing. She had no one to, she'd kind of spoke the sky blue for some reason, but it just, it almost could have, her promo could have been, I'm clueless. I don't know what to say. Look at me, I'm cute.
And for the fans out there that hear me say all the time that I will not shit on the talent, I don't think this is me or Grizzled shitting on her because look, she has gotten better in the ring. I will give her flowers all day long. You can tell that she's out, she's working, she's trying, she's getting better. She's taking steps, forward, but she's not there on the mic yet with those promos and creative booking. I blame this on them more so than I do on Harley. They should know this. They should know she is not ready to be put in that spot yet with cutting a promo, unless it's a silly promo. Her little puppet, I hate it. It's a lot better than what she did last night. Robbie, your thoughts on all of that shit that I just said, man?
I agree. She dropped the ball. But also, I want to say one other thing. Who the hell told her what she did to her hair now looks good?
Okay, we're not going into that.
What the hell is that?
You say drop the ball. She dropped it, stomped on it, popped it, tried to reinflate it. Jesus Christ. And I agree with KG. Creative. Somebody behind that camera thought, okay, let's give the mic to Harley. And as soon as she started talking, he probably went, oh, fuck, that was a bad idea.
Yeah. And I have a hard time being that critical with someone because I tell you why. And again, Grizzle, I'm not trying to spoil anything for you, but episode 5.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to watch it anyway, regardless of what I know.
Episode 5 of Unreal. You've seen Aliyah Vakara after one of her big matches. I think it was
Lyra Valkyria.
Yeah.
Okay. Lyra, who we were talking about there for a second.
Yeah, Lyra Valkyria. After a big match, I think it was SummerSlam, she went backstage, and it was the one with Becky Lynch. Her hands were,
that was SummerSlam. Yeah, where her hands were tied and they weren't tied.
And she knew that it was just, in her mind, that match was the drizzle shits, and she was literally crying her eyes out. She was disappointed in herself. She was embarrassed. And I thought about what we do in this podcast. We're somewhat critical. We give our opinions. And I'm like, this makes me really put, myself in the position of I'm going to give my opinion and not shit on the talent, because these guys are out there trying, right? And going forward to what we're talking about with Harley Cameron, I'm sure she went out there and she did her best, right? And I have a feeling she knows that, it wasn't that great. That's why I say, though, I blame this more on someone backstage who was in charge of that segment with putting that mic in front of her face to begin with. To me, you kind of set her up to fail. Or should I be saying, you know what, though, at the same time, you're the professional wrestler, you have to have accountability for your own failures as well. Grizzle, thoughts on that?
Harley needs work, and I'm with you. I don't want to be critical because I don't do what they do.
Right.
You stick a mic in my face and say, cut a promo, I might be like, I could probably do the same thing. But when it's something so glaringly bad, like Stevie Wonder could see how bad this is. When it's that glaringly bad, you can't help but be critical. You've got to be critical because it was anybody. That glaringly bad, anybody's going to see it.
Right.
And, Harley needs to work on the mic. She should not be given mic. Let Willow talk, then let them do their Babes of Wrath thing and then cheering. You let her be a cheerleader.
Let's not let them do the Babes of Wrath thing. It's so
well, I'm just saying, if you want her to do something, let her do their stupid little Babes of Wrath and whatever. But, don't get right. Because like you said, I don't want to be critical either. When something's this glaringly bad where you go, what the fuck? You got to say something. And I do the same thing watching a wrestling match. Like I said, Jet Speed, or not Jet Speed, Mike Bailey. Why? Because it's just so glaring. It's glaring. It's out there. You can't help but notice it. And in the case of this promo, as soon as Harley got on there, it literally sounded like she was going, you want me to talk? I don't know what to say. Yay! Shit.
Right.
And I hate to say that, but but
Robbie,
glaringly bad is glaringly bad.
As a professional wrestler, man, you hear two jabronis like the Grizzled Vet and myself who never stepped in a ring day of our lives, never will step in a ring, maybe except to sweep it. You hear us giving our opinion of a match. How does that affect you as a professional wrestler? Look, I just not so long ago, that's his name, head of veteran, pro wrestling veteran, WCW guy, I think been WWE as well, made the comment that I'm one of the most critical guys he knows within his industry. And I'm thinking, fuck, I thought I was respectful. Do you guys take it a certain way? I mean, should someone like me and Grizzle not be doing this?
No, I mean, because everybody's got an opinion. So, and that's the opinion. In her defense, and I'm gonna give her defense, it's possible creative could have told her what they wanted her to say. And in that defense, you're trying to think what they're telling you, what you wanted to say, and you're kind of stumbling. I mean, I got to do a promo one time for Florida Championship Wrestling when I was getting pushed against Denny Brown for the title, and Mike and Steve were like, this is what we want you to say. So now you're trying to remember this. And I mean, maybe it was a couple minute speech or whatever, but instead of just saying, here, just say it. If we don't like it, we're going to try to change you. If you can't cut promos in, maybe we'll stick somebody with you that can talk, or we just won't let you talk. But if that's what was said to her and she's trying to remember, so that's in her defense, because I remember, like, I'm trying to remember what Mike and Steve told me, and the mic in front of you and stuff, you're saying some of the stuff they told you, plus you're improvising and saying your own words. So, they got mad at me because, I'm saying the squared circle, and I can't remember what they wanted, but I had thrown some of my own stuff in, where instead of just saying, hey, go, we want, kind of keep it in this ballpark here, don't go out of the ballpark and see what you got, but they wanted to tell you what to say.
Right.
So who knows if creative did that with her, and she kind of did, kind of stumbled with it.
Right. Have you ever had one of those moments, Robbie? Oh,
pardon?
Sorry. Oh, no, go ahead.
No, what were you saying, Matt?
I was going to say, have you ever had one of those moments? Because this is how it looked to me. Have you ever had one of those moments where you said something or did something in the ring and immediately realized, shit? Because that's what it looked like to me. It looked like she was in the middle of what she was supposed to say and just went, and I'm fucking lost. God damn it.
Yes. Yes. I've had you'll have a few of those. And one of the things that just happened recently, like this last show, not this show from Saturday, but the one to set up Saturday.
Like, oh God, I thought you were gonna say we caned the guy like he owed you some money. Damn.
But they wanted me to come out. We all knew Robbie wasn't there. And they were like, we want you to say, hey, we're, talk about Robbie and this and that. And I get into the thing and I'm like, where the fuck's your champion? What's the first word they don't want you to say? And of course that just came right out of my mouth like it. And everybody just kind of like looked at me and I thought, oh shit, I can't believe I just said that.
Kind of like Booker T, talking to Hogan,
right.
Coming after you.
Right.
So yeah, you do have those moments.
Yeah, speaking of, I read over that letter back when you worked for Ted with WCW.
Right, the rules.
The rules. I'm like, really? Not allowed to say ass or cheeks or just some crazy shit. I'm like, wow, man. You think WWE right now is PG era shit. That had to be rated G era back then.
Yeah, so you're talking 88, 89?
Oh, that was well in the family oriented. That was well before TVMA Attitude Era. So yeah, no. Yeah. Right. Just saying I'm gonna kick your booty or something probably wasn't even allowed back then.
Well, yeah, but
it was so saccharine sweet it wasn't even funny.
Someone really know you had to be there 30 minutes before your match. You had to be in a collared shirt. If you were not in your wrestling gear, I thought that was crazy. Now we'll get back to this in a second, but I had a question. When they say that you had to be there 30 minutes before your match, so say you weren't booked till 8:00 that night, you didn't have to show up at the studios to 7:30?
No, you were there. You got there early. Everybody was there early.
Right.
So, basically everybody was there early. So you got there early.
Okay. I was wondering about that myself because every show I've ever been on or worked at, there's always a call time is 2:00 and you showed up at 2:00 regardless.
Right.
Even if the show didn't start till 8.
Yeah.
Like us from coming from out of town. Well, basically everybody was coming from out of town, but like a lot of your top guys would all fly to the place. We would drive. So you would drive, get there in the morning, eat breakfast, go find a gym, train. And then, now you're done. So it's like 12:00 or whatever. You just headed to the arena. So you were there. You were one of the first guys there.
Now, I see back then, obviously, kayfabe was very much alive back then because part of the rules that they made sure to say was they said no mixing backstage or in restaurants or bars. I'm assuming they're talking about babyface and heels, or were they talking about male and females?
No, they were talking about trying to keep it kayfabe.
Yeah, I figured as much. Next, we go to Kenny Omega and Josh Alexander. Really good match. I enjoyed this match. Robbie, your thoughts on this?
Good match. My issue was here comes Don Callis. You had Alexander, attack him from behind. And of course, Don Callis comes running down to slap Kenny Omega. I know they had it probably set up, but still, I have an issue with that. I just, you get away with, you get to punch guys, you get to do this, and nothing happens to you. I know we've talked about the build up and stuff, but you know, it's like it's not all the time, but a lot that something should happen to them. The match was good though, you know.
Right.
So it was a good match.
Yeah, I agree. I enjoyed this match. Grizzled?
They did what I was hoping for last week. They clicked and were able to put on a decent match. I'm not going to praise everything though, because I mean, like the spot with the the pile driver or something like that on the ring guard railing, not necessary. Yeah. The suplex over the ropes wasn't necessary. They did a few things, but you're going to have to do that. It's Kenny Omega and it's AEW, and that's going to happen. You know, but overall, no, the match was good. It was, you know, what I was expecting. You know,
right.
No, you know, decent enough. So,
Grizzle, I'm sure you're the one.
Can I throw something out there though?
Yeah,
because we'll get to it with a couple other things. But you do notice though that what I noticed last night, and I mean, not trying, you're more concerned about the guys, but they do take a lot of risks. So the injury factors after watching like a lot of the matches, they, you know, it was okay. I can see one or two big moves, but you're throwing a ton of big moves in there that, you know, you're just asking for an injury.
Yeah, that pile driver on the was on
the guard railing that goes around the separates crowd.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, you have a very small margin of error right there.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and I'm like, yeah, that is something that I was like, that, like, it didn't add to the match at all whatsoever, in my opinion. So yeah, that's just certain things that I just don't think they should be doing. But Grizzle, you can answer this question. The one-winged angel, I know a year, maybe 2 years ago, that was the one finisher that no one has ever kicked out of. And I cannot remember, and I was wondering about this. Has anyone kicked out of that move at all?
The one-winged angel?
Yeah.
Oh, God, yes. New Japan, when he had the match with Okada.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about AEW, because a couple
AEW, no, I don't believe so. I don't.
Because they were pushing it.
But overall, yes, because that hour and 16-minute match he had with Okada that one time. Okay. Yeah, no, he kicked out of that one. He kicked out of it, like, I think a couple times. So
AEW was pushing as, you know, oh, no one's ever kicked out of this one. And they were doing that a while back. I'm not sure if the one since then. Next, Kitty, he cut a promo from his new home in Orlando, stating he felt better than he had in years and declaring his intention to chase the AEW World title. Do you guys want to see Kitty with the title again?
I don't see any issue with it.
I don't.
I would love to see Kenny Omega and MJF again.
Yeah.
I mean, they had some beautiful matches.
I feel like Kenny Omega and Adam Page both have in common that there's just something very lackluster about their title reigns.
You want to see them chase the title, not win the title.
Right.
Kenny Omega the same way. Once he wins it, the fans don't care anymore. They want to see him chase it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's going to happen. Yeah, and I agree. I would love to see a MJF versus Kenny Omega match. Next, we go to Megan Bayne, Penelope Ford versus Timeless Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa. Oh, God. Mina
Shirakawa?
Yeah, Shirakawa. You know what? This was a bathroom match for me. I am just Toni Storm's gimmick right now, the Timeless Toni Storm gimmick with Mina is just too silly for me. I don't like it. I think it hurts Toni Storm. It's just too gimmicky. It's too comical. Not a fan of it whatsoever. Robbie?
No, I'm not a fan. I'd rather just see her and Luther.
Yes.
I'd rather them go back to the Toni Storm, you know, of old, not this one with Nina or whatever. I will say though that Nina took a hell of a bump though.
Yes, she did.
when Megan threw her over Tony's head. And I was like, wow. When I saw that, I was like, holy shit. So that did not look good. And then when she went to throw Penelope, I go, we're going 2 for 2 to throw her over everybody.
Right.
It was okay. The thing that doesn't make sense, maybe explain it to me. Maybe I'm missing something. Why Marina keeps running out at the end and stuff. Why,
right.
Because she's not part of that team. She came in the tag team tournament, but she's not like her, Megan Bayne, and Penelope Ford together. So that made no sense at the end to me. I guess because she's feuding with Storm.
Yeah, it's the Storm thing.
Yeah. So, but still, it was her to run out there like that. But that was the only thing that didn't make sense. But no, I totally agree with you, KG. It's like a comedy act, whatever. It's just kind of taken away from Tony.
Right. Grizzle?
I like the Timeless Love Bombs, but I think they're getting a little overplayed. It might be something every once in a while, bring it out together, kind of like what they do with Omega and Ibushi when they reunite the Golden Lovers. Bring the Timeless Love Bombs out on occasion. Don't let this tag team be Tony's main thing, because I love her and Luther. Luther's a buddy of mine, so I love they're back together. Marina Shafir. Too many Marinas and Minas. I understand her run-in thing because they're getting that feud with Tony Storm going, and they're keeping that going. And I'm looking forward to when they finally get a match, because I think that's going to be really good. And I'm just going to say right now, Marina could block me on that mother's milk submission. I'll take it. It's a weird looking submission, man. But I mean, not weird looking. It's a strange submission, but it looks fun. And the fact they call it mother's milk, that's what it was on the indie scene, and they still call it mother's milk. And I'm like, okay, if they can get away with it, cool. Because I mean,
it's a Mad Max thing. Yeah. It's a Mad Max thing. They on Mad Max, they had women hooked up to these milking machines, and they called it mother's milk.
Well, the Red Hot Chili Peppers had an album named Mother's Milk.
Well, yeah, that too. Yep.
But yeah. I'm looking forward to a few, but no, I agree with you guys. Tony Storm needs to go back to doing it. Let her do something with Marina, move on there. And if she needs a partner every once in a while for something, then you reunite the Timeless Love Bombs for a match or two. I think as a whole is getting overplayed.
Yeah. Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford picked up the win. Was this Penelope Ford's first match since she's been back from her injury?
I believe so.
Yeah, I thought so.
No, I think she was on. Wasn't she on Collision?
She might have been. If she was on Collision, it might have been one of the things I fast forwarded through. I hate to say that. Might have been her first time back on Dynamite, though.
It might have been her first time back, but for some odd reason, I thought she came back already, and this was like her second time.
Yeah.
Next is the main event, and again, this is another match that did I miss something on Collision? Swerve Strickland versus Kevin Knight. Was there a build? Or
yes.
Reason?
Yes, they set this up on Collision last Saturday. Before they set this up before they had the trios match or whatever, that because Swerve wanted Kevin Knight to step up and see what show what he can do and all that, and show that he's the future or whatever. So Swerve wanted a match with him. They set this up on Collision.
Look, one hell of a match. I enjoyed this match. There was some false finishes that I thought Kevin Knight was going to take it. I think Kevin Knight should be a singles competitor in my opinion. I think this young man is so damn good. I think that he is a breakout star. I really do. I'm a big Swerve Strickland fan. This match was 19 minutes. And of course, we seen MJF watching the match. There's at one point he was basically Kevin Knight just fucking finishes idiot. Good match, Robbie. What say you?
I liked it. It was a good match. They, now we'll probably expose it, but now we got to go watch SmackDown tomorrow night, and we got to hope it's half as good as what AEW was. I mean, they had a bunch of good matches tonight, and everybody, put a lot of effort into it and stuff. I mean,
right.
Yeah, you kind of, this Swerve Williams thing there, you looked at times they were going to put him over Swerve and stuff, but you kind of went, because they kept everything in, which was funny because, my buddy there, Tony, at the end, Swerve and Kenny and whoever, but he left out Joe, to be,
right.
So when Hangman wrestles on Saturday at Collision, he's going to win his match to keep all four of them, relevant there.
Yeah.
But no, the match though, both of them did a lot of, was the moves. A lot of the moves were awesome. Even just the way they put them together and everything, it was a great match.
Yeah, I agree. Grizzled?
This was the match of the night for me, which I enjoyed that because the fact that it was the main event, it built up to this. I enjoyed it. Kevin Knight, yes, he's going to be a singles, competitor at some point. He has to be. And I think Speedball could go along and be a singles competitor on his own and do just as well. But no, it was a good match. MJF up in the, and I think we're going to see that a lot. He's going to be watching Swerve. He's going to be watching Hangman. He's going to be watching Omega. I think we're going to see a lot of that with, MJF. But no, and overall, as far as the show goes, like I said, this is a good cap to the main event. It sort of built up. I mean, it started off kind of and then it built up as the show went on, and then that's what I want to see. As far as Robbie's comment about now we got to watch SmackDown tomorrow, thanks for reminding me. I am not impressed with the 3-hour SmackDown yet. Nothing's so, and we haven't had a chance to talk about it yet, so I can't wait till we finally get to get together and do a show and vent.
Yeah, let me show you. Overall, I would give AEW Dynamite a B+ last night. Again, yeah, there was a little tad bits that I was nitpicking about, but every match, even the Tony Storm match wasn't my cup of tea, but was it a terrible match? It wasn't. It really wasn't. It's just I'm not investing in these ladies. So they really didn't even have a bad match last night, in my opinion. I definitely give it a B+. Grizzle? I
would say B+. I don't think there really was a bad match last night. There was just one really, 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 really bad promo. Right. If that wasn't on there, who knows? Maybe I might even said the show was an A. But promos kind of dragged it down. The one at the beginning with MJF and all that didn't do much. And then you go to the weird promo at the end before the Baylor. The promos didn't do it for me, so I kind of dragged it down. But match-wise, if I just rated it on matches, I would say I'd give it an A-. If it was just matches.
Right.
But promos are going to drag it down because promos probably maybe was like a C or a D, which is why I'm going to say a B+, like you said.
Right. Robbie?
I'm going to give it an A. So the matches overtook the promos. I liked MJF's. I could have done without Brody, but MJF's promo, he's back to being MJF.
Yeah.
The matches, though, all the matches were good. I mean, granted, like you said, with the I'm not a big fan of Tony with Maria together, but the match was good. I mean, you showcased Megan Bain, showed her power and stuff, and they did what they needed to do. Right. But all the matches, I mean, yeah, you started out a little bit slow, but at least you had MJF starting the promo. So you at least went with somebody. You kind of killed it with Brody. At least the first match was a real good match. So it was like one of the better matches of the night. You had, FTR and the new kids, and you build up, and then, you had Omega and that one, and then to the final match with Swerve and Williams, and that was the match of the night. I'd have, truthfully, and I'm not a Samoa Joe fan, but Samoa and Speedballs weren't too far behind that match.
Yeah,
there were no bad matches. I would just say overall,
right.
The promos overall kind of dragged it a little bit down for me. But I do have a question though. Why do you keep saying Williams when we're talking about Kevin Knight?
Kevin Knight. I don't know.
You keep saying Williams, and then I get confused. I'm like, what was he talking about?
I don't know. He looks like a Williams. What can I say?
As far as the A thing goes, for myself, I don't give A's very often at all.
Bitch.
A B plus is a damn good, almost perfect grade. A's, I hold those for the spectacular, oh my God episodes, or the fuck's going on with my computer? Hold on a second.
Quit watching porn on it. Probably.
This computer is only used for the podcast. But anyway, yeah, or the pay-per-views or the PLEs. That's just absolutely spot on. So I don't give A's very often. So B pluses are damn good. Now, before we get into what we talk about, some moving parts happening right now in professional wrestling, I have a question for you guys. Last time MJF had his first title run, as far as I'm concerned, the biggest match that was the biggest build up, the match, I was like, holy shit, this is going to be awesome, was between MJF and CM Punk. Saying that, who do you guys, start with you, Grizzled, start with you first. Who do you think right now in the locker room is going to be that one big, oh my God, we've got to get this pay-per-view. This is going to be an amazing match with MJF because of the build-up it's going to be that big.
Swerve. 100% Swerve. When we get MJF versus Swerve, they're going to tear the house down. Ain't nobody going to follow that shit. That's just my opinion. MJF versus Swerve is what is going to be the best out of this one.
Yep. Robbie?
Yeah, I agree with them. The others, the two you could see that they could tear the house down would be one of the kids from the, either Bailey or Knight. One of those kids, if they gave them a chance, I think that they could hold their own. They've both shined, and like when you put them out there in the spotlight and stuff. So, but I do think Swerve. But it wouldn't surprise me to see one of those two kids.
I agree with Kevin Swerve. Fuck. Swerve strictly myself. The thing with Mike Bailey is in the ring. Do I think MJF and Speedball Mike Bailey could tear it up? I do. The build-up story, the promos going one-on-one with each other, as far as having the oh my God moment, they just said that. I don't think Mike Bailey's even in the same block right now that he could handle his own as far as cutting promos against MJF. I don't.
Yeah, and I mean, I wasn't talking about, I didn't kind of think about that. I mean, I think he could hold his own in the ring, though. I think he would be very, it would be a good match. That's my personal opinion. Yeah. No, I totally agree. He's on the mic. Even the other kid, Knight, he's not well on the mic.
Right.
So
that could be interesting, though, if you think about it. A series just to set it up for a match with MJF and Speedball Mike Bailey. Did you have MJF, who's just king on the microphone? We all agree with that one. He's probably the top promo in AEW. Let him do a promo one-on-one with Mike Bailey, where Mike's trying to cut the promo, trying to say what he's got to say, and MJF just cuts him down. Make MJF the schoolyard bully picking on the kid to where he can't do it. He's flustered. And then it gets that match, and you find out, okay, the kid's got to step up. Right. And that builds that match. That could be good in Bailey's favor if he can't go promo word for word with MJF, because he could be the severe underdog that the fans are going to be. I want to see this. I want to see Mike Bailey finally shut him up, because he's just been let MJF verbally berate him for weeks, and then Bailey just goes, okay, I got to do this in the ring, and go. It could set up to be a great match that way. I
agree with you, but there's a difference between, yes, it could be good, maybe even great, versus the holy shit feud of feuds that just the promos hits, the matches, the run-ins, the attacks, everything that's
going to be a swerve. That's going to be a swerve series.
Right.
Mike Bailey's not going to be the holy shit. Right. Oh my God.
Right. And that's
what he could have a really good encounter.
Right.
If you let MJF kind of, go the way I said he should go.
Right. And that's what I was talking about, because his first title reign, and you guys may disagree, but that was definitely the feud with him and CM Punk. The feud with him and Adam Page, it was fun, but it wasn't that shit. I can't wait to see what the fuck's going to happen between these two again next week.
No, Punk and MJF were perfect, because if anything, we're talking the microphone. Fuck, that was like watching two, heavyweight champions go at it on a microphone back and forth. That was because the promos were beautiful.
Well, the matches were great.
Well, they were too. Yeah, no, that's one. And I think him and Swerve could be the same. Yeah, him and Mike Bailey won't. No.
Right. Let's get to all the shit that's happening in pro wrestling right now. Grizzled, take it away, man.
I wanted to talk about this because I think this is kind of an interesting point in professional wrestling right now. We discussed this last week about guys wanting to, Powerhouse Hobbs going to WWE. Is that best for him? And all that stuff. And I was talking about this with another friend of mine. He's a promoter, runs a show in Missouri, and we were talking. We agreed that right now, WWE is becoming a global force, bigger than what they've been before. This is a point in time where guys can step up to the plate and have a chance to be the face of a new era in wrestling, in my opinion. And it's this whole global thing. And there's so many moving parts to this right now. We talk about Powerhouse Hobbs. We all know he's going to WWE. I have not heard about Royce. I'm going to look this shit up, But, we just had right before TNA went on AMC. Dude, goddamn many freaking letters to spit this out. They signed the Rascals. AEW signed the Rascals. Not huge, but a decent signing as far as the where it goes. But then what happens like 3 days later? Oh, Trey Miguel is gone. Now we're finding out Trey Miguel is gone because of some things that were said back in like 2000, which is another thing we could discuss right now, especially with the ongoing world of professional wrestling. What you say 5 years ago will come back to haunt you. But you've got the Rascals from TNA to AEW. You got Powerhouse Hobbs from AEW to WWE. You just signed Alec Price and Jordan Oliver, who put on a good showing. You've got Leon Slater. He was supposed to face Myron Reed on TNA, and that's it. They scrapped that match because of Myron Reed going to AEW with the Rascals. Leon Slater then got pulled from a pay-per-view here in Dallas this past weekend and replaced with your favorite, Joe Hendry. Got replaced with that because they put him over in Germany with SmackDown to answer Carmelo Hayes' open challenge. So there are a lot of pieces are being moved around right now, and it's very interesting to kind of watch. And now you're looking at it, they just announced, or not announced, but it was reported, New Japan, Naito, Tanahashi, Ibushi, they're leaving New Japan. There's an exodus of wrestlers leaving New Japan now. Some are going to go to AEW, but that's another major thing. New Japan is huge. They just came off of Wrestle Kingdom, Tanahashi's final match. Great match, by the way. I don't know if you guys got to see that.
Gotcha.
Freaking beautiful. Amazing. But all these pieces going around, and so it's kind of interesting for a guy like me who, 20 years from now, you want to look back at this point. I think this is going to be a kind of a benchmark in pro wrestling history because we're entering into this Netflix, Paramount streaming, worldwide, global domination. AEW is getting out there, like we said. They're London, Australia, a few things like that. But WWE, Royal Rumble, next weekend, Saudi Arabia. They're building a freaking stadium just for the Rumble. So that right there shows that if that's like a WWE specific arena, they're going to be going back a lot more.
Yep.
And just recently, Dusseldorf, Germany, Belfast, Ireland, their world, not just world, it's a global. Wrestling is becoming a global force now, which I don't care what people say, it wasn't before. Yes, you went on tours to Japan. Yes, you went on tours to Australia, but you weren't global yet. Now we're getting to be global.
Never in the history of professional wrestling we've been to the point that now, because of WWE is now in every broadcast in every single country around the world.
Exactly. You couldn't say that before.
Right.
And then, like I said, all these moving parts. Now, granted, they're not huge. Powerhouse Hobbs going to WWE isn't like, oh my God, we just stacked the deck. It's a good signing, though.
Right.
The Rascals going to AEW, that's a good signing. Trey Miguel, well, sorry for your luck, buddy. Glad you're owning up to it, though. He made his statement that, changed man. He doesn't have hate, which is fine, because if you go back to 2000, it was kind of a very homophobic rant. And like I said, it comes back to my
let's do a timeout with that for a second, right?
Okay.
We're talking about a guy and his tag team partner back in the day, and this is all over the internet right now, that were wearing vests that's basically cut up, that were made out of the Southern flag, the
Stars and Bars.
Yeah, what's officially called? The fuck, I'm from the South. I should know this shit. It's in my tip of my tongue. The Confederate flag, right?
Yeah, Confederate. Yeah.
Now people were getting on to them about that, but come on. Not that I'm saying the Confederate flag is the right thing to say, but we're talking about professional wrestling with characters. We're talking about, people who were, who have been fucking Nazis, for the love of God, because we needed that type of heel because of what was going on in the world back then. We're talking about guys, Soldier Slaughter, who was an Iranian sympathizer. I mean, it's professional fucking wrestling. So you have to take into consideration, was he doing this because of his character back then? Or did he truly feel this way? And on top of this, and this is one thing that I do have a problem with, we preach about education, we preach about change, but yet when people do change, they do move forward from the way they were 5-10 years ago, we still want to crucify them for that.
Well, it wasn't just the vest or whatever. If you read more into it, I guess he was responding to a troll, which don't respond to those people.
Right. And
he made some pretty anti-gay, very homophobic, and it came back to get him. You can't do that.
Again,
it's going to come back and get you. Look at Jay Briscoe.
Yep.
Him and Mark Briscoe would have been on a WWE or TNA type of thing.
Right.
Or before that, but Jay made his statements, and that, and then sadly, once Jay was gone,
but again, I asked the question: are we just going to crucify these people forever, or are we going to say, you know what? You say that you've learned from your mistake. We're doing this with Tesla Blanchard too.
Right.
You say you learned from your mistake. How are we going to know these people actually truly learned if we don't allow them to move forward to prove it?
Oh, I agree. And they've already said this isn't a Tony Khan decision. This was above him.
Right.
So that means it was a Warner Brothers. It was a Warner Brothers Discovery decision.
Right.
And they basically looked back, saw what was said, and went, "Oh no, we can't have this," because they're afraid of it coming back on. So they're like, "You got to let them go." And they're looking at it from advertising standpoint, things like that. Right. So I can see why they would do it. Yes, he should be given another chance. People do it. I don't. Jay Briscoe, I think, would have been fine. I don't think he would have come on TV and cut his anti-gay promos and things like that. But but from a marketing standpoint, from the corporate standpoint, I can see where this comes up and they go, "Oh no, we don't want that," because all that would take as a competitor to go, "Look who this man is." They're advertising on their television, and oh shit. So it's unfortunate. And I say kids. I mean, Trey Miguel's not a kid, but the young up and comers now, don't go on social media and air your dirty laundry. Don't go on social media. Like, if I go on social media and I make a post going, you know, Robbie Idol, god damn, he was such a gay fucker back in the day. I couldn't stand that bitch. Post. Nobody's ever going to read this. Wait, Robbie follows me on Facebook. Oh, well, he just read that. Once you hit send or post or transmit, whatever, it's out in the world and it will never go away. If you Google search correctly, you can find fucking anything. Right. Watch your mouth. Watch what you say.
I agree, but I still think we live in a very sensitive society that aggravates me. Now, I want to talk to you guys. I want to talk to you guys about some signings and see if you guys recognize these names, because some of them I don't. We talked about Jordan Oliver and Alec Price signed. They officially signed with AEW Dynamite. According to Cage Side Seats, Zyda Steele has signed with AEW following ROH Collision appearance. You guys familiar with her? Because I'm not familiar with that name.
Another indie spotlight right now. She's doing big on indie stuff, indie scene. Kind of like, you know, your KJ Orso, Sam Stackhouse, those type of guys. Yeah. Right. Both friends of mine, things like that. They're doing their thing. And I've seen the name Zyda Steele come up. It's an indie.
Also, as you just talked about, Powerhouse now going NXT.
About Royce, I gotta look this up. Oh,
yep. Now we know the whole Chris Jericho's future in AEW. We still don't know what's happening with that just yet. The only thing I do know that happened is Chris did not re-sign his contract, which ended the end of December. So he is a free agency. Yeah. Right. Because of his contract actually ending, there's no 90-day clause in there whatsoever. He can show up on WWE tomorrow if he wants to. Mm-hmm. Also, we have Tom Pescott, Barry Corbin. He actually made his AEW appearance as Bishop Dyer on Dynamite Dark Match. Before Dynamite went on air on the Dark Match. According to Cage Side, he got a pretty good welcoming. Let's see. Keno Carver and Ellie Knight officially signed with WWE, according to Johners. Let's see what else is going on.
That's the ID program.
Yep. Main roster call-ups, Javon Evans, Trick Williams, Jordan Grace. They're now on the main roster. We know Willa Nightingale, Mercedes Martinez, she's the new champion on TNA, resigning, and AMC debut. They locked down. Let's see, Nick Namath, he resigned, and I guess he's supposed to be getting a title shot pretty quickly, according to WrestleZone. Reported re-signings include also Mustafa Ali, Cedric Alexander, Jody Threat, John, Skyler, Steve, Macklin, and AJ Francis. Also, the big thing that is kind of, I guess you say it kind of broke, was there. We have this whole at Royal Rumble, AJ Styles versus Gunther. AJ Styles loses. That means he's going to retire if he loses. It came out that his contract actually ends in February. So we really could see this be his final match.
I think I hate to say it, I think it needs to be, because one, he's already said that he doesn't plan on signing another contract.
Right.
So, and AJ pretty much strikes me as a man of his word. But two, wouldn't it add more to the character if Gunther can come out and actually say, I retired AJ Styles? Well, right, I wrestled him in their last match, but he actually ended his career.
Finally, they'll be able to say that he retired somebody, because up to now, he can't. Now, one other thing, you guys can help me. I don't know who this is. but it is rumored right now, and it's worth following, according to K-Shot Seats, that former IWGP champ Evil is rumored to be heading to WWE. Developments are still emerging with this.
And see, that's what I was talking about with the New Japan thing. Evil's one of the names that has left, along with Naito and a few others. There is about 7 guys I read, and one female wrestler that are leaving New Japan, and people don't know why. And Evil's on that list. But yeah, no, Evil is a New Japan. I've seen him like on Press, Wrestle Kingdoms, the G1 Climax, stuff like that. Yeah, he's a strict New Japan. He's good, you know. Right. WWE signing, that's interesting because Tony loves the New Japan guys.
Yeah. Yep. Well, from what I heard, it's more of Kenny Omega, who's the big fan of the New Japan people, more so than Tony Khan.
Kenny likes the New Japan girls. That's why Riho has a spot. You're awfully silent down there, though, Robbie. I want to kind of get your take on this because you're looking at this from your era when you were wrestling. I mean, you just had your match there about a week ago. What do you think about everything that's going on right now? Not just the movings around, but just kind of what we're saying is kind of like a new global era in professional wrestling.
Definitely, because back in my time, the only place you were going was Japan. So it was either here or Japan. So because the guys really didn't go to Mexico, stuff like that. And then when you did see some of the, and it wasn't very popular, like the Lucha Libre stuff. When you did see it, like the stuff they were doing, you just were like, wow, why? Like they would jump off from the top rope to the floor and just do crazy stunts and stuff like that. And at the time, you're just, because nobody was doing that stuff here. But it's more of an opportunity for a lot of people, with all the moving parts and stuff. So, which is good. I mean, if you're talented, at least you have places to go.
Let me ask you both this question. Royal Rumble, of course, is going to be in Saudi Arabia, right? Now, there are a lot of fans all over kind of shitting on this, pissed off that WWE is going to Saudi Arabia for Royal Rumble. And also next year, WrestleMania, I've heard people go as far as saying they feel like WWE has betrayed them because they are the fans here in the States that has gotten them to be as big as they are. Now, I have argued against that myself. I have said, yeah, maybe fans in the States started them, but the only way they become the global company is because of people in different countries actually becoming fans and support them as well. Shouldn't those fans also have the privilege of seeing their favorite superstars live besides on TV? Shouldn't they have WrestleMania moments in these different countries as well? Or are these fans right that WWE should only be honoring the United States fans with things like WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble? Robbie, start with you, then we'll go to you, Grizzled.
You can't say that. I mean, look at what Saudi Arabia probably threw at them money-wise. It's a business, so business is to make money. So the money that probably came out of Saudi Arabia for this, But here's the other thing: look at your crowds, and we talked about it on Tuesday. Okay, where was Raw at? Was Ireland
Belfast.
Or whatever?
Yeah,
Belfast, okay. Ireland. Yeah, Becky and Finn Balor's hometown.
Okay, yeah. So Finn Balor's, but the crowd. I mean, they made every match sound like it was a pay-per-view. The crowds overseas are way better than the crowds here in America. I mean, what we've seen, like the shows last year. Where was it? There was just some of them. I mean, as soon as they knew the cameras were on, they were going nuts. So it's a business, but those people are very appreciative. So they were loud. They were, they made the crowd, they were, the crowd was into it and everything. Makes your match easier to do because now the crowd's behind you. Even if you screwed up, they still were cheering and going nuts and everything like that. It's
right.
It's a business. It's a business, and the idea is to make money, and that's what they're doing.
AEW, the first year they were in New England, right? My God, that's my favorite pay-per-view by AEW. And it's not because of what was happening in the ring. It's because that energy, they had so much energy that you could literally feel it sitting in your living room. That crowd made that pay-per-view. It was amazing. Again, the crowd in England, not New England, in England. It was amazing. Grizzled?
I'm gonna, I gotta, Robbie, what he said, I agree with a lot of his things. It's a business,
right?
They got to make money. I don't agree with some of their decisions, like the WrestleMania one, because they were supposed to be in New Orleans and then they went, or no, that was this year, and then they went to Vegas. They're going back to Vegas. I don't agree with that type of decision because it was promised the one thing: don't fuck over other people because there's a better opportunity. So, get the better opportunity, but hold, because your word, your bid sometimes just as good as your word. Right. As far as like the Saudi shows, though, look at the way the Saudi shows were when they first started in the WWE. Remember the original ones? Yeah. You saw the guys sitting on the couches in the front wearing their gear, but their religious clothing and all that. It was almost like it was the WWE was over there to entertain the Saudi royals, not just the fans. It has evolved from that to where now the women are allowed. Before it was one match. Shit, next week they're gonna have 30 fucking women, in net from head to toe when they're in their shit. Some things they're never gonna change in Saudi Arabia. But Saudi Arabia built an arena just for this Rumble. So I don't think you can say blood money anymore because this isn't just the Saudi king going, I want the WrestleMania to come to Saudi Arabia and whatever. It's now, okay, there's an audience in Saudi Arabia because of the original shows we did. So it's evolved to, it's just another WWE PLE, but it's in Saudi Arabia. Same thing with like Belfast, Ireland. It's SmackDown in Belfast, same thing SmackDown here in the US, but the fans, like Robbie said, they're just crazy. The fans on Raw, and I loved Raw. I didn't get a chance to come on and talk to you about that, but I enjoyed Raw. Most of it was the crowd, and I thought CM Punk and Finn Balor was like the best match of the night. They tore that place up. That match was insane, but the crowds were into it. Because one, they don't get it as much over here in the States. Yep. They do the tours. But now they're going overseas or but they're not being stupid. They're not going to be going, okay, we're going to England in February and then in April and then in May and then in June and then in August. No, they're not going to oversaturate the global market because to do that, they're just going to make it a crowd like what they have here in the States.
Right.
So, no, I think going over there is good. I think the Saudi deal is a lot different than what it was when it first started. I think it was more Saudi royals at that time. Now it's, okay, we want to go to Saudi Arabia, to entertain the fans. Even like Sami Zayn is going now, and his was a religious thing. CM Punk is going over there now. And I think part of that's because they've seen, okay, we're going over there to entertain the fans. We're not going over there to entertain the Saudi royals and his court,
And by the way, to all you fucking dumbass fans, people are crying that, it's Triple H. It was Vince McMahon that made the original fucking deal. So get off of Triple H's fucking nuts.
Vince McMahon made the original deal. I think Triple H has evolved the deal. And even Triple H isn't involved in all this. Once they signed and TKO and Endeavor took over and all that, things started changing. And it's not just WWE becoming a global brand. Endeavor is becoming a global, and they want to introduce. So there's a lot more business wheels turning in this than what we have. But it's good for the fans over in the other countries because they can see WWE. And it's good for us because, those crowds make those shows. A great crowd can make the most boring show look good.
Yeah.
Even the 3-hour SmackDown. But,
Yeah, I agree. Also, one last thing, we're going to close with this. There's a lot of rumors going on that, speaking of Collision, that Collision is now canceled. No, you fucking, oh my God. Collision this Saturday is canceled because of weather. But Collision is something that's going to continue happening. It has not been permanently canceled. Fucking read shit instead of the headlines before you start spewing all kinds of bullshit.
The show was taped last night after Dynamite in Orlando, and it's airing on Saturday in the Collision time slot. Collision got canceled out here because, as I was joking around with KG, it's cold. It's cold. Seriously, though, for Texas, we do have a severe winter warning coming through where temps are going to drop down to below freezing for about a period of 65 to 70 hours. 3 days tops. Now, to KG, that's nothing. I mean, he's been below freezing for a few weeks.
That's true. You know, being originally from Louisiana, I remember the first time I brought my wife to Louisiana. It was during the wintertime there, and I wonder. I said, a lot of people don't believe this, but when it gets cold down south, it's a cold that hurts because it's a wet cold. It gets cold to the bone. And she went there and she felt it, and she's like, holy shit, you're right. I like to give you guys a hard time, but no, when it gets cold, it gets cold. You know,
and that's why, I mean, Tony Khan had to. It's not safe to have a show. It's not safe for the fans. It's not safe for the talent because starting tomorrow afternoon until Sunday afternoon, Monday morning, it's going to be really cold and really fucking dangerous because people drive stupid and Texas just shuts down. We die when it gets cold. I mean, seriously. But no, he didn't cancel Collision on TV. No, it's going to air on Saturday. They just taped it last night instead of doing the show here in Arlington. And I think on the 31st, they're back in Arlington again. So they love Esports Coliseum, and it's like 20 minutes for me. I'm going to take my son to it eventually. Yeah. You know, they're not far. But no, we're kind of just about to go into a kind of severe winter warning thing, which sucks. It happens every year in January, February. And it's cold, it's painful, and things shut down. It's not safe.
It's called winter. No, guys. We'll be back tomorrow night after watching a 3-hour SmackDown. God damn it, if we could come on and do the recap, I hope our fans will be on watching us.
We're going to do it this time, guys.
You can join in the conversation with comments. Always get to the comments. And don't forget, SICW.org to buy your tickets for FanFest 4 and to keep up with all of the legends that they're bringing. Until then, guys, have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow night.
See ya.